Deep in the vast expanse of the Andromeda cluster, aboard a wandering trade ship known as the Zephyr's Edge, a young alien girl named Zava found herself lost in the wonders of foreign technology and exotic human contraband. Zava was of the Valkyrie species, a race known for their luminous skin, gossamer-like tendrils in place of hair, and an innate ability to manipulate bioelectrical energy. Though curious by nature, she had never encountered humans up close before, only hearing of their bizarre ways through intergalactic rumors. The Zephyr's Edge had docked at a human-controlled outpost for a brief refuel and restock. The humans who manned the station were mostly mercenaries and ex-soldiers, their supplies laced with remnants of their warlike past. The Valkyrie were a peaceful species, and though Zava was adventurous, she had little knowledge of the destructive power that humans had at their disposal. While sneaking through the cargo hold, Zava's eyes gleamed at the sight of various canisters and glass vials containing shimmering liquids of unknown origins. Her people were attuned to consuming nutrient-rich elixirs to sustain themselves, and the assortment of human-made concoctions fascinated her. Without thinking, she reached for a small, unlabeled vial filled with an iridescent blue liquid. A moment of hesitation flickered in her mind, but curiosity overwhelmed her caution. Uncorking the vial, she inhaled a peculiar scent, both sweet and metallic, like stardust mixed with honey. Shrugging off her doubt, she tipped the vial and drank. At first, nothing happened. The liquid was oddly thick, coating her throat like molten silver. It burned slightly, a sensation foreign yet not unpleasant. But then, a heat erupted in her chest, spreading outward in pulsating waves. Her breath hitched as her body convulsed, her nerves igniting like solar flares. It was an alien sensation, unlike anything she had ever experienced. A raw, untamed energy thrumming through every fiber of her being. Zava stumbled, knocking over a few crates as her muscles tightened involuntarily. A surge of electrical impulses shot through her limbs, and her bioluminescent skin flickered wildly. Her tendrils writhed uncontrollably, the energy coursing through them like lightning. Panic set in as her heightened senses picked up every sound, every movement, every microscopic shift in the environment around her. It was overwhelming, intoxicating, and terrifying all at once. Unbeknownst to her, the vial had contained a prototype military serum, one designed to augment human soldiers, amplifying their strength, speed, and primal instincts to an aggressive degree. In humans, the serum heightened aggression, focus, and sensory perception. But in a Valkyrie, whose body was not built for such enhancements, the effects were unpredictable. A sharp noise behind her made her whirl around, her movement unnaturally swift. A human soldier, clad in the dull gray uniform of the station's security force, stood frozen in the doorway, his weapon half raised.
"What the hell?"
he muttered, eyes locked onto the glowing alien girl who now radiated with unstable energy. Zava could barely process his words. Her pulse thundered in her ears, and an unfamiliar hunger gnawed at her insides. Not a hunger for sustenance, but something deeper, more primal. The soldier's scent reached her, a mixture of iron, sweat, and something inherently human. It triggered something within her, a deep, unquenchable urge that sent shivers down her spine. She stepped forward, her body moving of its own accord, fluid and predatory. The soldier stumbled back, his face a mix of confusion and intrigue.
"Stay back,"
he warned, though his voice wavered. He had faced battle-hardened warriors, towering reptilian brutes, and cybernetic assassins, but nothing had prepared him for an alien girl pulsing with an unknown force, her eyes burning with something feral. Zava tilted her head, struggling to regain control over herself. But the serum had altered her physiology, rewiring her neural pathways, amplifying every instinct and emotion. The logical, gentle Valkyrie girl was drowning under a flood of new sensations, her mind clouded with the aggressive and dominant nature of the serum's intended effects. More footsteps echoed down the corridor. Reinforcements. If they restrained her, if they experimented on her, she didn't know what would happen. Panic flared within her, but it quickly morphed into something else. The instinct to dominate, to assert herself, to claim control. She launched forward before she could think twice, a blur of light and motion. The soldier barely had time to react before she was upon him, pitting him against the wall. Sparks of bioelectricity danced between them, her body humming with untamed energy. The soldier's breath hitched as her glowing eyes bore into his. Then, just as suddenly as it came, the surge of aggression wavered. Zava gasped, stepping back, horror dawning upon her as she realized what she had done. The serum was consuming her, making her something she was not. She clenched her fists, forcing herself to focus, to fight against the storm raging within her. But control was slipping through her fingers like sand, and the station's alarms had begun to blare. They were coming for her. She had to escape before she lost herself entirely. With a deep breath, she turned and ran, her movements unnaturally fast and fluid. She would find a way to fix this. She had to. Because if the serum won, if the human aggression took root in her very core, she would no longer be Zava. She would become something else entirely. Something the universe had never seen before. Zava sprinted through the narrow corridors of the station, her glowing form a streak of light against the metallic backdrop. The shouts of soldiers echoed behind her, their weapons primed and ready. Her mind was a battlefield, logic clashing with instinct as the serum pushed her toward chaos. She skidded into a maintenance hatch and pried it open with newfound strength. Crawling through the ducts, she could hear the pursuit growing closer. She needed an exit, a ship, a pod, anything that could get her away before the transformation became irreversible. A hangar bay. That was her only hope. Bursting into the vast docking area, she scanned the available ships. A small, sleek fighter craft caught her eye. It was prepped for takeoff, its pilot nowhere to be seen. Without hesitation, she sprinted toward it, overriding the access panel with a jolt of bioelectricity. The canopy hissed open, and she threw herself into the seat, fingers flying over the unfamiliar controls. The first wave of soldiers arrived, weapons raised. They fired. Energy bolts screamed past her, some grazing her luminous skin. Gritting her teeth, she slammed a hand onto the thruster panel. The ship roared to life, engines igniting in a burst of blue fire. With a final surge of power, the craft shot forward, tearing free from the hangar into the infinite expanse of space. Zava's breath came in ragged gasps as she gripped the controls. The transformation still raged within her, but she had bought herself time. Time to find a cure to reverse what had been done before she lost herself completely. She cast one last glance at the station shrinking behind her. Whatever was happening to her, it was only beginning. And the universe was not ready for what she was about to become.